Hi guys, you're watching the Bhangra Chronicle Part 2. In this instalment, we talk to some of the legends that are performing at Desi Live on Bank Holiday Sunday, 17th of April in London. This time we celebrate some of the most influential artists in the Desi scene of the 90s and 2000s. We hope you enjoy it.
Not Bhangra. You know, that's one thing you have to learn, isn't it? Bhangra. You know, you have to learn that vibe. And of course, as a Sri Lankan, you don't grow up saying, Mum, Dad, come on, let's go, I'll put some Bhangra on.
Bhangra, what actually means to us is, to you, to me, okay, so actually it means family.
Punjab di sadi shaan hai.
I live and breathe Bhangra music.
Bhangra to me is, it's been life.
Music that represents us.
A guy in a traditional dress dancing with a big smile on his face.
For us, I think, dancing, good times, good people around you.
Dancing.
Bhangra da naam sunde hi pair thirkan lag jande hai.
Now, if you watch Bhangra dancers in the videos, it's a smile.
And just making sure that everyone's having fun. You know, the feeling that you get when you hear a Bhangra song in a club, at a wedding, even in your car. You know, it brings up an emotion that basically no other music on this earth can ever do.
Bhangra to me, man, is a vibe, it's the culture.
All my baby videos of like 1, 2, 3 years old, all I'm doing is dancing to people like Hira, Alab, Shane.
Bhangra is what I've grown up to, like the bands.
Bhangra bahut sade liye badda naam hai.
Raw is folk music.
Bhangra gidde, gaane, song, dance, sari deen duniya enjoy kardi hai.
It's energy, it's percussion.
Those that know me know that it plays a massive part in my life.
I think the UK, the Asians, the demographic here adopted a sound, and it was Bhangra really.
Jede naal tusi nach sakde, tap sakde.
Got many Punjabis that live in the UK.
Music to bagair zindagi adhuri hai.
I'm basically having a good time.
It was everything I'd listen to in my household.
It's Punjabi, it's my roots, it's my heritage, man, and it's what I grew up to.
You can go to events and you can hear different types of songs, but when a Bhangra song comes on,
Hands up.
that energy is different.
Sare din di jehdi thakawat hai wo dur kar sakde.
Have a good time, enjoying yourself, spending time with family, and just boogieing away to the beats.
It just encompasses everything really, a culture, a music, a dance, a people.
It's also so malleable is perhaps not the right word.
You know, UK Bhangra to me is like worldwide music.
It can chop and change.
It's quite important, especially in the UK when people are growing up, to get an aspect of their culture.
It can be in garage, it can be in hip-hop.
Started back in the early 70s, late 80s, 90s also. It's always been vibrant.
It can be in R&B, it can be in house.
So it encompasses everything. It's all to do with culture, the roots. So that's why I think it was important for people in the UK. It was important for me anyway.
What people fail to sometimes realise is that a lot of the music that has been brought out over the last, say, even 20 to 30 years, most of it has come from the UK.
Like, it can go into so many different genres, but ultimately, it's about joy.
And now we ask you to hold on to your seats as coming on stage is the precious new Bhangra band to hit the industry from the heart of Birmingham. It's B21.
B21. When a crowd say bolt, select up.
B21 was the first boy band that I came across in my young teenage years, and I remember, because I'm such a dance freak, I love to dance. I remember part of Punjabi school, there was a Diwali night that they were throwing, and some of the older girls that, you know, were in some of the classes above me, I think they just knew that I was that one girl that loved music so much, and they saw me dancing around all the time. They came up to me and they were like, "Perhaps you want to jump on like a little dance routine that we're going to do for Diwali?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm all over it." And the track was B21, and I remember I was like hooked to this one song at that age as well. Like, but that song still sticks in my head because I remember the routine, I remember performing it on a stage, I remember watching it back.
If you mention their name, you have to understand, and I've said this before in interviews, that they are like probably one of the greatest boy bands, PAs to come out you know, ever. Jussie, Buta, Bali, like all three of them. And this is when they were together. I don't know about the politics.
It was
after
crazy because I remember when we used to walk into shops and they used to be playing B21, the albums and stuff. They used to be moving bucket loads, and we always say this, that if that stuff was charted back then, that'd be in the UK charts.
B21, legendary. Like legendary, growing up legendary. And you know what, I was blessed enough to go on a trip with them. I went on tour with them to Kenya, Nairobi, and yeah, it was a whale of a time, man. Them guys, Bali.
B21 is almost like the soundtrack of my youth. Those guys were, I would say, the vehicle to bringing the new youth into the world of Bhangra. So they had history, they had new innovation, there was like evolution of the UK Bhangra sound. And even though they didn't make that many tracks in total, the impact is still being listened to today. If you go to any function, you're guaranteed to hear a B21 song. Why did we choose B21 as a label?
Why?
Yeah, but don't forget there was another act out called E17.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so how did we come up with B21?
It was me and my mates back in the day. Our road used to be called B21, and anyone that used to phone me, they go, "Where are you at?" And I said, "B21."
People always think, well, what does B21 mean? To us, it's just where we were brought up. That was our postcode, Handsworth, born and bred. So it's nothing like, oh, this is B12, that's B12. It's just, that's where we grew up.
When we did Sounds of B21, it didn't really like hit big time, and it was like after like public demand. The response we got after that was like amazing. I remember doing Long Overdue, Giovanni was in Coventry studio recording that song, and I think me and Jussie was having a like argument over that song. He didn't really like it. I was like, bro, this is a yeah, it's a track. Yeah, there was two, and I did it on that garage kind of version with everything but the girl sample. And me and him, he's arguing, and I thought, okay, we've got a show tonight. I think it was in where was it? Coconut? No, Nottingham, yeah. And I didn't really want to perform it, but me and Jussie having a little one-on-one with each other. So I go, okay, I'm gonna perform this and see. And no one shared this song. It wasn't like a Chandigarh, it's a cover version. Darshan, a cover version. Giovanni's original song. So that when we did it, yo, as soon as I started going that B21, when the crowd said, "Bo," yo, the crowd reacted, bang.
I was there, I was doing the sound that day, and I remember that DCS were around me on the sound, and I told one of the guys, "Listen, just tell me honest opinion, I'm waiting for this track." And all the guys, they were just looking at me, "You've done it again, you know?" Like, you go, "Yo, it's sick, it's sick," and they were like, "Oh, I can't
Now,
believe this guy."
fair to just see, he did shake my hand on the evening going, "Yo, bro, you did a good song here." There was a lot of noise and I made a lot of mistakes, but I think we were very humble dudes.
It was mainly Sufri and Malkeet, they dominated the scene in the early 90s. And at the same time, but when we came on the scene, we didn't expect the way the crowd took us on board, especially after public demand. And, you know, we were looking up towards people like Sufri and Malkeet, going, yo, we can't really compete with them. But the crowd out there actually appreciated our music and our different kind of flavors that we added to it.
Actually having someone like Jussie, born in England, raised in England, and actually sang, and I mean, truthfully, he's got a good voice, you know what I mean? And no one was doing that at that time. There was no homegrown people doing it.
Which the older artists at the time, they weren't actually doing that. They were just strictly staying with it.
I mean, a lot of the artists, they used to like look at us and go, "Yo, hit the Ibra ke gana gam diya." There used to be a lot of haters in that aspect, and I was like, "Yo, bro, we're singing live on top of our track of songs. We're giving you a wicked performance. What else do you want from us?" Jussie could sing. Jussie was like, "Yo, I'm gonna sing that. I could really show my voice." And it was like, "Yeah, but what we're doing is a like presentation more. Birmingham's like a paint village kind of thing, and London is the share. what people used to get up in London, you couldn't do that here, bro. You couldn't even do that in Bradford, Manchester. See, the one in London, it has to be that Bagley's one we did. It's all three of us, just see me, yeah, Bagley. And that, it had like coaches park. It's only a slap performing, I think.
No. They used to have 5 rooms. I think there's about 3 live bands.
Oh, yeah, like a garage thing.
But there was queues outside at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Coaches outside that couldn't get inside. And when we walked in, he's trying to tell us, and we've gone right upstairs. And there's like windows on the side. There were people actually climbing the gutters in it.
Big Baba Chance.
He was throwing them out, right? And he was like a 40-foot drop, you know, bro.
This one guy came through the window and goes, yeah, and he goes, yes, I've got it. And Western Promotions right there, and he goes, what are you doing? He goes, I've got into the gig. He threw him back out the window.
He just dragged him
out the window, and he's, oh, all right, mate.
If I just say the name Juggy D, there must be a million things that come into my head. A million things. Like, this guy is a star.
How long have I got? No. Again, for me, the one way for me to describe Juggy is the best entertainer I've ever seen come out of our industry.
In any genre of music, when someone like him comes along, and remember, you know, I met Ed Sheeran before he was a star. I spoke to Emily Sandé and Naughty Boy early on in their careers, Sam Fender. There's so many artists who I've met, and he is that guy. Like, he walks into a room and you know he's in that room.
Juggy is not just a good friend, but an incredible stage performer. I've always said this, that guy has got unlimited energy. You know, I always get told I've got a lot of energy. That guy's something else, but that's so important on stage as well. When you're performing, you need that. You need to bring the crowd alive, and I think Juggy is probably one of the perfect people to do that. I did used to have a slight little crush on him.
I think Juggy D, one word to explain Juggy D, a stylist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because when he came out, he had the hairstyle and everything else going on. And you're seeing hundreds of Juggy Ds walking around with the same hairstyle.
Do you know
don't get that now.
You don't know who was Juggy D or Jay Sean for
Yeah.
1 minute. But I think also Juggy D took off where B21 kind of a little bit stopped. So they're in popularity, this is. You know, so, you know, I think Jussie, Bhutan and Bali took it to a level, and then Juggy, Jay and Rishi came, and then they kind of took that to the next level. I'm not sure even if he doesn't even class as an artist with us. He's just like, he's fan.
With Juggy D, before he became Juggy D, we used to be DJing at events at Ministry of Sound, and he used to come with us. I remember next door is a restaurant called Punjabi Restaurant. So to go to Ministry of Sound, we borrowed the guy's van.
No, we did it. We picked them, but they didn't tell you that, mate. We stole the van.
Yeah, and it was a van we used to deliver food. So Juggy had a license.
We knew where the van was parked, and we took the van so we could get to the gig.
So we went to Ministry of Sound to go and play at this event, and we got Juggy D on the mic that time.
Oh my God, yeah, and because it was a van that people used like that, and it was open, and there was a coin. It was a coin that you put in the barrel and turn it, and that's how you could start the car. So nobody else, if you didn't know that, you wouldn't be able to drive away with it. But we knew that. So we picked up his van and went to the gig and came back.
Have mercy.
Being someone that was so into the music and wanted to become an artist, there were so many influences, because I grew up listening to so many different artists, writing their songs out, learning their songs. And when I started performing, I used to perform covers. I was a cover singer. I used to do pubs and bars and restaurants and stuff like that. And that's how I started my journey. So, who is Juggy D? Juggy D is me, man. You know, there's no act. I'm a born performer. That's what I say, man. I'm not a singer. I'm an entertainer. I'm an artist that loves putting on a show. And that's what I've always done. And I've done that from a very young age. And I knew from a very young age that this is what I want to do. You know, my mum and dad wanted me to go to university and study and stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll go just for you, you know, just for the sake of saying that I went to uni. But it wasn't in my DNA to you know, go down that route. It's always been in my DNA to get up on a stage and put on a show. It was a very happy place that listening to Punjabi music just puts a smile on your face, you know, it makes your feet want to tap and your head bob, and you don't even have to understand the language. And I know that because, you know, when back in the day our stuff started playing on things like Channel U and stuff, there used to be those, remember that you could text in and it used to come at the bottom of the screen, and I remember people texting and going, I don't know what this guy's singing, man, but it sounds sick, you know, and that was nice because that's what music is about, man. It's a universal language. It's about that vibe. I was focused Punjabi Desi, like Pendu, right? I used to sing Kuldeep Manak songs in the pub. And then when I met Rishi, I sang Put Sardaran for him as an audition when the first time I met him. And he was like, after about 30, 40 seconds, he was like, okay, that's enough, come out. And I was like, oh, he didn't like that, right? Done, audition over, right? And I came out and he was like, okay, cool. So I like your vibe, right? You're from Southall, you're young, you're this, but I don't want you to sing that style. I want you to sing pop music. I want you to sing on my album. I was like, wow, okay, cool. And I was like, pop music. And he's like, yeah, like you know. And then he went like, you know, like Taz kind of vibe, you know, pop Punjabi music. I was like, oh, okay. But that was not initially me. That wasn't my vibe. But we did it, and I ended up writing Nejina. I didn't even know I could write songs, and I co-wrote Nejina with a guy called Iceman Dolly from East London. Right, he was a writer, and he wrote that song with me, and we wrote it in a day, vocaled it 2 days later, and then Rishi got Don D on it, and then the song was made. And he called me within a week. He phoned me on the weekend and he said, Jugs, do you want to come and hear your song? And I was like, wow, that's mad. Like, from one Sunday to the next, we've got this song ready. And I'm like, who's this black guy? He's like, no, he's a Gujarati. He's Don D. I'm like, no way, this is mad.
When I say Punjabi, you say it. What Punjabi? Punjabi! Punjabi! I want to see you wave those black hands up in it.
Punjabi Hit Squad, making you happy. Hi.
Ain't no party like a Hit Squad party, and you know, every time they say that, it's actually true. There are so many DJs out there, but there's something about them that's quite different. They bring something to a room which I can't describe. Now, even though I used to listen to them when I was younger, when they used to, like, you know, make tracks with Miss Scandalous, hi, all of that jazz. Now to say that I work with them as well, I've seen a completely different side to them. Like, I've got to know them on a personal level. D is probably by far one of the best MCs I've seen in a club. He just knows how to rock the party. Rav knows exactly what to play. Like, they know how to read a crowd down to a T. Like, they know what track is gonna bang next. They know what to put in next in their mix. Like, it just works. So yeah, I feel like you're in for a real treat, man, to see them perform on stage. It's gonna be sick.
I love those boys. I just, with Punjabi Hit Squad, they're just so funny. Right, they're just great people to be around. Amazing DJs, right? The way they work together on the mic, Rav and D, I've just got so much time for them, right? Their brand was superb. You know, they got everything right about their brand, and they lived for it, right? They knew it inside out. And yeah, they're just always great fun to be around, and superb at what they do.
Hit Squad, they're my boys, man. Like, from back in the day, we went to school together. We come from the same area. We're from Southall. We put Southall on the map, you can say now. You know, we've got that many years behind us that we have put Southall on the map, and we're proud to say that. You know, we're proud to say we're from Southall. Some people will like, where you from, man? Oh, I'm from Ealing. No, you're not. You're not from Ealing. You're from Southall. We're proud to say we're from Southall. You know, Asian DJ culture, when they were called ADC, right? And they used to go with Raj Kali, and bless his soul, he's not around anymore, but he was, and you know, they had gigs on. There was nights every day of the week, man. When I was at uni, like, there was Samantha's, Limelights, to name a few. And we used to go, and I used to go along. And I remember the first time I kind of like really met them, I just said to them, I said, I want to sing. They used to play jungle and stuff like that. And when they used to play jungle in between the Punjabi, and this was at Limelight, I used to jump on and do Punjabi Bonia over jungle. Like I used to just jump on and do like covers, and it was mad. So yeah, there's a lot of memories with them boys, man.
Hype DJ set, Punjabi Hit Squad, shut the rave down. You know what I mean? They've got
we love D and Rav. You know what I'm saying? Like like these guys. You know, most of these guys and all these artists that you're naming, we love all of them because a lot of them, we all started our kind of careers together. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? And it's like
they got the energy.
Is what's great to see is that we were here for the long run, and we was always here for the long run. You know what I'm saying? As artists, because we knew that what we was doing, we was pushing a new sound.
A team of producers, DJs, MCs, and also, curators of the world of Desi Beats. We taken the best of what everything was going around and put it all out into one package, and that came through us. We're happy that we could help facilitate and help people navigate themselves through this journey of music, basically.
It's like I remember when we came up with that term Desi Beats in early 2000, it was just because a lot of people, we just felt a lot of people, it's like when we were going towards the mainstream, they couldn't pronounce Bhangra, so we just thought Desi Beats was a great term for our genre of music, just to push out to the mainstream. So that was like a cool moment for us.
Plus also it was taking the best out of what we were doing within the East and taking it with the West and kind of fusing it together. So, you had your days of like reggae, then you had the hip hop sound, then you had the garage sound, which is where kind of actually it mostly exploded, and even taking it more of a Desi sound, that's also came back as well. So yeah, there's been a lot of transformations in the world of Desi Beats.
We were on South of Broadway, a restaurant called Lahori Kadai. That's where we met up. And a label approached us and they were like, listen, we want you guys to release some music. And the name, it was like from our cousin Raj, who passed away in the late 90s, and it was a name that he sort of came up with. And it was going to be an album which is going to feature a lot of the big Punjabi artists, whether it's Surinder Rattan and Jeet Mani and everyone. It was going to be called Punjabi Hit Squad. But then when obviously he sadly passed away, we sort of moved over and we sort of created Punjabi Hip Hop from there.
I mean, the thing about having gigs that are local to you, that's kind of where you make your name within your own people. So in order for us to develop to, the main stage, we had to make sure that we had our own people around us. So it was places like the Thatch, which was in Southall, Lady Mark Road, places like Ealing Boulevard, Royals, in Uxbridge, all these places that now don't exist. This is kind of where we started the grind. When we talk about an event that is kind of pinnacle for us in terms of making Punjabi Hit Squad, it actually wasn't even a club event. It was actually Southall Mela in 2002, which was, I think, the first time. Like maybe about a month before that, we had started distributing our flyers and started pulling out music and snippets to the media, and like everyone was kind of loving the thing that we had put together called Punjabi Hit Squad. And it's only when we had got to Southall Mela, we had got a truck from one of our friends, Smudge, and then he said to us, look boys, can you get a sound system? So we hooked up our brothers, Sting for one day, and then Ambassador's Sound for the next day to hook up the sound system. And we just put on our own little party, basically. You had the main stage.
Yeah, our own Mela.
Our own Mela on one side. So you can just imagine you had the main stage with Makeet Singh, Hira, everyone's up on stage. But then you had this kind of like a side stage which we had, which was just sound system based. And like everyone that was young was there. And then before you know it, METZ TRIX jumped on, Surinder jumped on. I'm pretty sure B21 was there as well. Door Foundation jumped on. No,
It was
Southwark. Southwark, yeah.
I remember the Spice Bridge one.
Spice Bridge, yeah, correct, yeah. So
it was crazy. I remember like we were offered the lorry.
Yeah, that's it.
And we just took over that Miller, and that's when we sort of really stamped Punjabi Hit Squad.
Yeah, I think that's what it was for us to have that kind of love in our hometown. Meant that we're all ready now to kind of take it to the next level. I think the key for us to still be around and still be relevant has been that we've kind of tried to apply a business ethic towards, making sure that the music gets put out in the right place. So we know we have a brand, now with that brand, we're going to bring on other brands, and we're going to push the music to where it needs to go, push artists where they need to be, link them up, and, making sure that that always is at the forefront of it all has made sure that we're always helping the scene grow, because that's it, I mean, we've said this loads of times before, that the scene just isn't us, it's a whole amalgamation of people. So while we're popular, but it also takes people like Dr. Zeus, it takes people like Justice Sidhu, it takes people like Punjabi MC to carry on creating music and making sure that it gets in the right place for our scene to carry on staying at the level it is.
And I think the most important thing is for us, we push Punjabi Hit Squad, but most importantly, we push the culture, we push artists, we don't just push ourselves at the forefront. We've always pushed the whole scene. Like when we got signed to Def Jam in early 2000, our thing about releasing with Def Jam was creating a compilation to push the biggest Asian artists that were killing it at that time. So whether it was RDB or whoever it might have been, so we wanted to take everyone along with us.
Man, what can you say about METZ TRIX, right? What can you say? These guys are iconic, without question.
It's one of kind of reflection when you think back on it in terms of impact, because it was going for, you mentioned kind of like university. It was my university phase of listening to that. And I'm a Desi head from like the Midlands, and then you've got this kind of new wave of music coming from up north. And when you're hearing like put Sardar on there on a garage beat, you're like, what? It's almost kind of that hip-hop innovation that you were hearing earlier on in UK Bhangra, then you're hearing it in garage, and it's fusing. You were listening to it, and you get people who are non-Asian, bopping their head and going, taking notice.
Back to the front, to the middle, and the right. I mean, come on, man. There's a generation of people who know every lyric to that song. Dum, dum, dum. Suddenly like, whoa.
I was a little bit of at war internally between like Desi head and also listening to that. But it was almost kind of like a guilty secret that you used to like that kind of music. And then it's one now that whenever you hear back at a wedding, it still bangs, you know what I mean? So fair play to those guys, the way that they've done it. They rode that music, and they actually are the definition of UK garage Bhangra scene.
And the thing about METZ TRIX, which is really cool, is they're Manx. Yeah. And there weren't so many Manx. There were loads of Brummies, there were loads of Londoners, but Manx, there weren't many Manx. When they did OMG with Surinder, especially the drum and bass mix, is unbelievable, that record. That record should have been a huge, like DJ Fresh, should have been that big.
Old school. Just old school, so many memories. When I was at college, sixth form college, and even end of high school actually, we started doing these gigs in London called Elegance. And we had METZ TRIX on every single show, and they were all sold out. And again, just, I feel like, especially now, they're not given the credit that they deserve, because they came through in such an era that is still internationally, you can go and play their music anywhere and people will know it.
That's what put you off in it, because you didn't get.
Guess I didn't do my clap in it.
Yeah.
He goes, no, don't worry, I'm a pro. I don't need the clap.
Down to the trick, so get a grip, so get a grip. I'm gonna take
because at that time we were just so active within the UK garage music world in Manchester and up and down the country. We were just constantly working, like doing UKG raves. METZ was booked constantly on Sun City, Pure Silk, Hysteria,
Garage Nation,
Exposure. You know, so we were just basically we were touring. We were kind of like clubbing around the world, promoting this new sound, new genre of music that's come out of the UK that was brand new then. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So like that was the newest sound in the UK. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas Bhangra had been around, but we didn't really know about Bhangra then. You know
we
what I'm saying?
weren't
really
involved then.
We didn't really know about Bhangra. The only thing we really knew was, I think I knew a Balisagu
and Apache
Indian.
First time I met Surinder, I was in the club.
Yeah, there you go.
Generation X in Manchester. He came up to me and basically history's there, and he found me there. He saw me MCing, and we made a relationship there, connection.
It was cool because Surinder didn't even think METZ was like Asian or had any kind of South Asian or Punjabiness in him at all. You know what I mean? So it was like,
it was a bonus for him, innit?
When
he knew that I was Asian, he was probably excited, over the moon. And then going to the studio, that was pretty surreal. Didn't think that would happen. That happened. And then we made the track, and obviously the lick dub bit, that's what really propelled my career. But if the lick and dub bit didn't really happen, I don't think METZ TRIX would have happened. Do you know what I mean? Because we were already MCing and we knew each other, but we weren't a unit then. We weren't together. You know what I mean?
But while we were making that, RDB, Cully worked very closely with Surinder under that. So they were just coming through then as well, you know what I mean? Like, they were just getting into it as well. You know, rest in peace, Cully. But he was just getting into it as well. So whenever we'd link up, there would just be like, we'd meet Surinder, Cully would always be with Surinder.
And I liked RDB, I liked Cully.
You know.
And I just became friends with him. Just, you know, started talking to him, and that's when they gave us that idea of, you know, we're making an album, can we make an album for you? That developed. We made the METZ TRIX album, and that's where, you know, we became mega stars in the Asian industry.
Like before that, obviously we did that RDB debut album, Butsar on there, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we did their debut album as well. You know what I mean? So yeah,
fun. It was mad, man. It was crazy.
It was a crazy time, like I said. So like that, it was like, so that we was active. The mainstream attention came to the scene around about 2000, end of 2002, 2003. There was, you know, you had Asian Music Awards on mainstream TV. You had Asian music artists getting signed to mainstream labels, going to, you know, charting mainstream. You know, and that's when you kind of knew that, oh, you know what, this is massive. You know, I know, you know, Radio 1 opened up a spot for Asian music. Do you get what I'm saying? And that wasn't there before.
When I knew it was big was when the Danger album came out, but when we were performing in massive venues, in massive nightclubs. And then when it hit me, really hit me, was when I was like, yo, we're going abroad. I was like, what? We're going abroad to do a gig. That's when it really was like, okay, this is different now.
You know, we're very blessed.
You know,
we're a blessed generation.
Shall I tell you what was epic
to perform in London around that time, because now them venues are not there no more. Eros or Equinox, Eros and Equinox, both of them, because they're massive venues.
Leicester Square,
legend. Actually, there's another one, Hippodrome.
Get ready, get set. Get ready, get set. Intro, back to basics. Alongside the who, rhythm, the dough, the bass, shine the place, wind up the waist. Talking to you, must be the who. MC METZ, sing full of effects. North to the south, to the east, to the west. They call me Shimpy the best. Listen up, raver, wiggle a shaker. Danger, 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 danger.
Surinder Rattan, what a producer. Again, Surinder Rattan loved hip hop and R&B, right? And he was one of the few producers that could get that sound. Like he could get that bass kick. He could get the depth of a record. His instrumentals could have quite easily been from US producers. But not only that, he could do drum and bass. He could do house, like the work that he did with METZ TRIX. You know, it's incredible. He's such a talented and lovely guy.
Surinder's legend. You know what I mean? He's the legend producer. Has built many artists. You know what I mean? If you know, look at Surinder's track record, he has helped put a lot of artists out in the scene.
RDB, METZ TRIX,
Roach Killer,
yeah,
Gary
Sandu.
It's not just Surinder actually. The only thing comes to my mind is like garage music. They sort of from the north, and they sort of that was their
Very nice guy, so humble dude.
Yeah, they're humble dude. But if it's all got Surinder actually, the first thing that comes to mind, garage. He was into that kind of vibe.
Mate, Surinder Rattan. You want to hear a story about Surinder Rattan?
No, you can't tell that story.
No, I'm going to tell it, Ram. No. But Surinder, he's just...
So Surinder, okay.
He's the nicest guy, firstly.
That's what I was going to say. Surinder Rattan is the nicest guy that we know. Even when we first got into producing, when we first met him, he's always been this one person that has always been very, very helpful about everything and supportive about everything we do. So like for Surinder to, even to this day, you know, he's never ever switched up. He's always been the same. So salute to Surinder every single time.
And all I'm going to say is the first time I tasted chip baps was with Surinder. And I was like, what is this, man? I said, Surinder, this is dead food.
Shout out Manchester and Surinder Rattan.
Scran.
Nice and differently back to basic, I deal with them case.
Being from Manchester, we had the club like Hacienda here, so I was always growing up to dance music. A few of my friends had some mainstream pop chart hits. And so that was always back in my mind. We listened to everything else, don't get me wrong, being from Manchester, pure urban music, black music all the time. But dance was just something a bit different that I was into as well. And I did a school project with a track with Sefri, which was a US garage mix. The album was called Dance Splits. It was before the lick, actually. But Roma ended up releasing that. And it was a continuation of that. So when I heard two-step and I heard garage, instantly got my shoulders moving. Instantly, I just loved it for some reason. I don't know if it was the tempo, it was the R&B vocals, the vibes that were on it, it was the chords, it was everything really. It was a mixture of everything of that sound. I just loved it. And one day by fluke, a band was playing and we put the beat over it as we were DJing because they were singing like a bully tune and it sounded wicked. And from there I just went, you know what, I need to take that into the studio. Well, when I was working on this garage track, and I was also working on the album, the Lick album, I was also introducing another set of artists, RDB. So it was a natural thing for me to find another new artist to work on this particular track that I was working on, a garage track. And I thought to myself, you know what, I need to find an MC. If I find an Asian MC, that'd be amazing. Because I heard of lots of Asian MCs, I grew up to them, this is like Hustlers and everybody else, so I knew the background of people that were already there, but I knew they were in the mainstream of Bhangra, as it were, but I knew they were always there. So I thought, let me try and bring one of these guys, but obviously I was older now and I couldn't get in touch with these guys. Like, say, you want to go on a garage track? So I thought, by fluke, I went to a garage rave and METZ is performing there. Asian. I thought, this guy looks Asian. Because he didn't look Asian to me, like Persian or something. And when I approached him, he said, no, I'm an Asian guy, blah, blah, blah. And I just went, right, you are going to be perfect. Right? Because believe it or not, there's loads of people in your generation before you who were MCing, but they never got onto the Bhangra tracks. But they were brilliant MCs. A lot of them were from London. And I used to hear the Asian Pop Awards, Hip Hop Awards. And I used to watch them in the programmes and stuff like that. So I knew the culture was there, just that I needed to bring it to the forefront. And that's why I wanted an MC on the track. Yeah, man, I wanted to bring the Bashment in with the Cheshire Cat, and that was a big, massive blessing. At this time, he went, after Balisagu, he was obviously he went back into his own, and he still is, doing his own stuff. But Left Field, you know, have you heard of the band Left Field, the big international band, he's part of them. And I needed to get in touch with him, and he just, out of the blue, dropped a song with Geet, the mega band singer, on this album. I think it was called Phantom or something, yeah? And it said featuring Cheshire Cat. I thought, this is not highlighted, there's like a filler on the track. And I thought, he's available. Now I'm doing music, I need to get in touch with this guy. I tracked him down in Birmingham And he was taken aback a bit. He goes, he wasn't sure whether to get back into it. He'd taken it, into Bhangra. I said, listen, the moment you do this track, mate, you're gonna have every guy ringing you, bro, to do songs. You'll make some change. You know what I'm saying, basically. And he's like, all right, safe. Did the Kalla Kalla, came to the house, recorded Kalla Kalla Munda, and he dropped his wicked vocals on it. I wanted that kind of blues, kind of old school bashment vibe on it. I didn't want the soft reggae on it. I wanted it hardcore. He dropped that, and then after that, as you know, all of a sudden, you're saying Shinda, everybody, he was on everybody's track. He was on everybody's track because people heard that sound again. Because I'm always looking to work with youth, new talent straight away. So, for example, you were saying METZ TRIX, RDB. After that, it was Roach Killer. It was Young Kid. It was Gary Sandhu. It was these people. Deep Jandu stayed with me in England for a long time. Did his album. So I like finding new talent like that, who are young talent, and because you're working with young talent every day, you get educated every day because you listen to references and music that they're listening to, and also I take it upon myself. It's like a discipline. I have to make sure I'm tuned in to what's on the street, because every time I release my music, it might have been 5-6 years, or say I dropped a tune after 10 years or something. After releasing with other artists as my own sound, I'm thinking, right, when I dropped my own album, it was 10 years ago. People have grown up. Do you know what I mean? And the sound has changed. So what's the new generation listening to? So I try to come then with that sound and keep it current.
LEHMBER HUSSAINPUri, wow, legend. I think you couldn't get from 2003 to 2000 and maybe 6-7. Every single song that ever came out was
Let's
LEHMBER.
be real.
He owned charts.
Dust Jar.
Like all the big songs that you can imagine, like with him.
The list goes on, man. He has got some serious bangers.
LEHMBER is someone I think anyone from my generation or my age has definitely grown up with. He's got endless hits, endless bangers, dance floor anthems. In fact, even his slow jams are sick. Like, LEHMBER as a person, I don't think gets enough credit for his slow stuff as well, because he's actually really good when he sings the slow stuff.
He came in the studio, and I remember at the time we were recording with Cam Frantic, and LEHMBER came in with Zeus, and I was like, Zeus, listen, man, I need to record this guy. And like, he was in the studio for 15 minutes and he recorded 4 songs for us. Probably the most powerful vocal, one of the most powerful vocals I've ever heard.
Phenomenal singer. One of the golden nuggets to come out of India. But when he, obviously, I know his story. Like in India, he wasn't appreciated because you had all the big artists of Uskandar, Kaleem Marak and those people. But he was unknown until he actually came to the UK and started working with the UK producers. But take nothing away from him, he was good because of his voice and the songs that he chose. He blew the industry for about a good 5 years in the UK. Everyone was using him.
ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਆਰਟਿਸਟ ਆਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ। ਮੈਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਪੱਬਾਂ 'ਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਸੋ ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟੂਰ ਸੀਗਾ 2001 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ 22 ਤੱਕ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਚਲੇ। ਡੀਜੇ ਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਰੂਹ ਵਾਲਾ ਬਾਦੀ, ਉਹਨੇ 10 ਜਾਂ ਮੇਲੇ ਗਾਣਾ ਸਿਲੈਕਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ 10 ਜਾਂ ਮੇਲੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਗਾਣਾ ਗਾਇਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਿੱਟ ਹੋਇਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ ਬਣੀ ਆ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ। 10 ਜਾਂ ਮੇਲੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੀ ਤੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਲੋਕ ਗੀਤ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ 2001 ਦਾ ਉਹ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਹੋਇਆ, 21-22 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਕਈਆਂ ਕਲਾਕਾਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਗਾਇਆ, ਸੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਝੋਲੀ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਸਨੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਦੋਸਤ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਪਾਏ, ਸਰੋਤੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਮਿਲੇ। ਉਸ ਗੀਤ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਉਪਲਬਧੀ ਦਵਾਈ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਅਮਰਦੀਪ ਗਿੱਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਣਾਮ ਹੈ, ਸਲੂਟ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡਾ ਕਲਚਰ, ਸਾਡਾ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮੇਟਿਆ ਕਿ ਛੱਜ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਬੰਬੀਹਾ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੁਲਾਈਦਾ। ਸੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਇਹ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਲਚਰ ਸੀ, ਬੁੜੀਆਂ ਮੂੰਹ 'ਤੇ ਚੁੰਨੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬੰਬੀਹਾ ਬੁਲਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਛੱਜ ਪਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਡਾਂਗ ਥੱਲੇ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਗਿੱਧਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ। ਉਸ ਗਾਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਿਲਿਆ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਆਈਆਂ ਸਨ ਭਾਜੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਤਾਲਮੇਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਕੋਈ ਗਾਣੇ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਕੀਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਸੋ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਗਾਣੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਫਿਰ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਗਾਣੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 350 ਮੈਂ 350 ਗਾਣਾ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹਿੱਟ ਗਾਣੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਸੱਚੀਆਂ ਸੁਣਾਈਆਂ, ਕਦੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਲੀ ਭੁੱਲ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ ਕਰੋ, 3 ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਮਾਰਦੀਆਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ, ਝੂਠ ਝੂਠ ਤੇ ਨਾਰੀ। ਬਹੁਤੇ ਡੀਜੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਨਵੇਂ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਕੀਤੇ। ਉਹ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਤੇ ਹੋਇਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਚਲਾਏ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਪਦਾ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਚੱਲਿਆ। ਸੋ ਦੁਆਵਾਂ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ। ਸੋ ਜੀਤੀ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ, ਮੇਰਾ ਮਾਹੀ ਤੇ ਪੱਟਿਆ ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਅੱਛੀਆਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ, ਕੈਮ ਫਰੈਂਟਿਕ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਹਾਂ UK ਵਾਲੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਨਵੀਂ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ, ਅਤੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇ ਆਰਟਿਸਟ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਣਾਮ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਇੱਥੇ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਉਪਲਬਧੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਨਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਨੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਗਾਇਆ, ਮੰਗਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਭਾਜੀ, ਪਲਵਿੰਦਰ ਧਾਮੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਕੁਮਾਰ ਜੀ, ਮਲਕੀਤ ਭਾਜੀ ਅਤੇ ਸਫਰੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਗਾਇਆ। ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੇਮੀ ਜੌਲ ਜੀ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਚੰਗੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਗਾਇਆ ਮਤਲਬ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਉਤਸ਼ਾਹਿਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਕਲਚਰ ਹੈ। ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਨਾ ਆਉਂਦੇ, ਗੀਤਕਾਰ ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਨਾ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਲੋਪ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਹੈ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗਾਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਂ 88 ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਕੇ 95 ਤੱਕ ਇਹ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਗਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, 98 ਤੱਕ 99 ਤੱਕ ਉਹੀ ਗਾਣੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ 'ਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਗਾਏ ਆ। ਉਹ ਹਿੱਟ ਉੱਥੇ ਰੀਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਰੀਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਗਰੀਬੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਪੈਸਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਅਤੇ ਨਾ ਐਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੀ। ਉਦੋਂ ਰੀਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਪੋਸਟਰ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਬਣਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਰੀਲਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ। ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗਾਣੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲੇ, ਮੇਰੇ ਉਹੀ ਗਾਣੇ ਗਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਇੱਥੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ, ਰੀਮਿਕਸ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ, ਇੰਨੀ ਬੀਟ ਅੱਛੀ ਮਿਲ ਗਈ, ਲੋਕ ਅੱਜ ਨੱਚ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਖੁਸ਼ਨਸੀਬ ਆ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਰ ਗਾਣੇ 'ਤੇ ਹਰ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ, ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ, ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਭੈਣਾਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਜੰਗ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ, ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਗਾਣਿਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦਾ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ ਹੈ। ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਅਤੇ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਈਟਰ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਲੂਟ ਹੈ।
Bass, side the place, wind up the waist, talking to you. But that must be the Who. MC Metz, sin full of effects, from north to the south to the east to the. I can MC for days. You know me, man.
How old are you?
I'm 22 now.
Right, let's go. So.
The Desi Beats has given respect to the scene and to the artists and what they deserve. You know, it was great that B21 or, you know, all the other acts could have got up on a stage at a banqueting suite and played to work, great. But to have it in an iconic venue, to have it at places you're on stage with proper production.
That journey. So good. It's alright. Crack screen crash. Oh, kid cost. No, we still give us.
So to be back on a stage with the artists METZ TRIX, Punjabi MC, Punjab Hit Squad, Surinder, like it's amazing.
Should I just change?
Just cuss it. Just cuss it once.
That's what I mean. I could just take the. I'm like that.
Just say, what is this?
I'll just be like, guys, could you not bring me like a little mic? Can I say that, please?
No.
Oh! Don't record, please.
Right, to be part of this, to walk out on that stage at Shepherd's Bush Empire, which, by the way, is one of my favourite venues of all time.
It's really weird that even now, at the age of 32, I don't mind telling you that because I know I still look 16, but even now at that age, I still appreciate old school music because there's nothing like it. There is nothing like old school music. It's sad that I don't think that kind of sound will ever come back, but that's why we put on nights like this, to make you relive that moment.
And also to be there with HARPZ KAUR. This is important because this is literally like uncle and niece business.
But yeah, you know, like I think putting respect onto the scene, I think that's what's needed, and that's what shows how professional and how, you know, how great and big the scene is, you know.
And even like celebrating like music from back then. All these DJs, producers, and people that are performing there are still majorly active.
That's horrible, isn't it? It's like that's like a.
I've been trapped in there overnight.
Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. 3, 3, 2, 1.
It's what this geezer seems to. Geezer, stop laughing.
Stop watching me.
You're laughing. Get out of the room for a minute, man. Let me just do this with Sonny. It's easier. That's even worse, bro.
You ready?
What are you asking me now?
So what does Bhangra? We did the same question last time on the day again. So what
did I
say? You don't remember that now.
I don't remember what I said, but...
Sort of get the flow.
Go on, we're rolling.
Lipstick, Tika? All right.
17th of April, just be there. Bhangra is so important, man. If you love that music, come and appreciate it. I promise you will not regret it.
It's just gonna roll. I'm just get you getting off the chair and just like.
Yeah. Them ones. Them ones.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Goodbye. No, I just want to get out of the way.